Welcome back to the Freelancers Tea Break podcast. I'm Emma Cossey, and today's topic is the one that I've had to hastily rewrite. Initially, I was going to share some networking tips with you, but the latest government update, and who knows what it will be when this comes out, currently restricting us again to 6 people meetups, which obviously is completely right considering the circumstances, but it has meant I've had to rejig things a little. So, as I mentioned in last week's podcast episode, there are 4 areas I focus on for finding work: social networking, traditional networking, pitching, and referrals. Whenever I mention networking to new freelancers, they look a bit scared, but I've got some tips and tricks for you, and this is coming from an introvert. Networking is so important because you're getting in front of people, and it's the easiest way to build friendly relationships with potential clients. Plus, it's a nice excuse to get out of the house and potentially have some cake. But right now, the traditional options are out the window. So, how can you network now? There are 2 main options. First of all, networking. So, networking is a growing trend where you network as you walk around in a small group. Obviously, at the moment, that would be 6 people at the most, and obviously with a lot of social distancing. It's a great way to get those steps up and those contacts up, and there's plenty to look around and chat about if you hit a lull in the conversation. There are a few people in the Freelance Lifestylers Facebook group running them if you want to find a local one, or just Google networking in your local area. Number 2 is virtual networking. Many of the traditional networking groups have now switched over to Zoom for their weekly meetings. I've recently joined one of them, and they had a speaker, a quick round of everyone introducing themselves. Then the admin spun everyone out into private one-to-one rooms to get to know a bit more about each other's business. This was then repeated 3 times in terms of the private ones. The benefit of this kind of networking is that there's less pressure to kind of approach people and create small talk, and you can do it in your PJ bottoms. No one knows if you're wearing a sort of a nice top or dress. So those are kind of 2 of the options you've got at the moment: networking and virtual networking. But I know networking can seem really intimidating, especially if you're shy or introverted. So I've got 5 tips for you that will help with that. So the first thing to do, and this is whether you're going to a virtual one or a in-person one, is get there early. It's much easier for others to approach you than for you to enter a room full of people. And the same goes for Zoom. If you're one of the first people there, you can chat to the organiser and it's a little bit easier. Number 2, book time off after the meetings to recharge. So for example, if I was going to a networking event in sort of at 10 a.m. in the morning, I wouldn't book too much in the afternoon. I would keep that for admin time and relaxed time to recharge. Number 3, the best advice I actually ever had about this is from my dad. And he said the most interesting people are the most interested. So go in and just show interest in others. Don't go in with a big sales pitch in mind for networking. Ask questions. They'll remember you because you were so interested in them, and they've done most of the talking, which makes it a bit easier. And potentially they might give you an insight into what you might be able to do to help them. But just go in and show interest in other people. And that kind of goes into point 4 as well. Don't worry about selling. Just get to know people. This is just an opportunity to get to know other local people. And I've made some really lovely friendships through networking. Some of them have led to a new client, but some of them have just been lovely friendships. Number 5, don't forget to follow up afterwards. And you can do that with an email. You could create a template. But personally, as an introvert, I much prefer just following people on social media, sending them a message saying how lovely it was to meet them. You can do that on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you want to do. And then you can continue building that relationship through social media. So obviously networking is tricky right now, but it is still possible. So I wouldn't give up on it completely. Definitely still try and add some networking into your business development mix. If you want to keep an eye out for networking opportunities, come join the Freelance Lifestylers Facebook group, as they often get mentioned in there. You can just search for Freelance Lifestylers on Facebook or click on the link in the description. So I'll be back next week to chat to you about referrals and pitching, the last sections of my freelance client pipeline. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed this episode. To find out a little bit more about the freelance lifestyle, hop on over to freelancelifestyle.co.uk.